There's a piece of information you carry everywhere and consult almost never. It's the most reliable fact in your possession, more certain than your plans, your health, your relationships, the sun coming up tomorrow. The fact is this: your time here ends. Not someday in the abstract, at an actual moment, on an actual date that already exists on some calendar, unmarked. Every person you've ever seen in an old photograph believed, exactly as you believe, that they had time. And here's the strange thing about this most certain of all facts: we've organized our entire modern lives around not looking at it. Tonight, I want to argue the opposite of the avoidance. I want to convince you of something the wisest humans across every era discovered independently: that your mortality, consulted deliberately, is not morbid. It is the single most clarifying advisor you will ever have, and the people who keep death on their counsel don't live sadder lives. They live sharper ones. Notice first that this is one of the oldest ideas we have, which should tell you something. The Stoics called the practice memento mori, remember that you die, and Roman generals at their triumphs reportedly kept a slave beside them whispering exactly that, at the peak moment of glory. Monastic traditions kept skulls on desks, not as decoration, as instrumentation. Buddhist monks practiced death contemplation as a core discipline. An entire genre of painting, vanitas, existed to put the hourglass in the corner of the portrait. Across cultures that agreed on almost nothing else, the same tool keeps appearing: the deliberate, regular remembering of the end. These were not depressed civilizations. They had noticed something we've forgotten: that the awareness of death is not the enemy of vitality, it's the source of it. The word mortality sits inside urgency, invisibly. Nothing is precious that is infinite. The finitude isn't the bug in the human condition. It's what makes anything matter at all. And modern evidence backs the ancients in a way that should give you chills, because we've now heard, systematically, from the people standing closest to the door. Hospice workers who recorded the regrets of the dying found the same short lists surfacing over and over: I wish I'd had the courage to live true to myself, not others' expectations. I wish I hadn't worked so much. I wish I'd expressed my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I'd let myself be happier. Read that list again slowly and notice what's not on it. Nobody wished they'd spent more time on their phone. Nobody regretted embarrassing themselves attempting things. No one at the end wanted more meetings, more grudges held, more years of playing it safe. The dying, with perfect clarity and no remaining incentive to lie, keep pointing at the same things: courage, love, presence, expression. Here's the question tonight turns on: why should that clarity be reserved for the end? The whole point of an advisor is to get the wisdom before the deadline. Every regret on that list is, right now, still a choice for you. So how does the advisor actually work? Consult it with questions, and the questions cut through fog like nothing else in your toolkit. Take any dilemma you're currently marinating in, the risk you're weighing, the grudge you're carrying, the priority battle in your calendar, and put it in front of death. Watch what happens. The confrontation you've been avoiding for months. Will this matter, either way, in the final accounting? Often no, the fear dissolves. Sometimes profoundly yes, say the thing now, while saying it is possible. The career question: if I knew I had 10 years left, would I keep building this? The answer arrives with suspicious speed. It was always there, buried under someday. The famous commencement version of the practice, from a man who then faced the real thing. For decades he asked the mirror each morning, if today were my last day, would I want to do what I'm about to do? And whenever the answer ran no, too many days in a row, he knew something had to change. That's not a poster. That's an operating system, and its kernel is one move: borrow the deathbed's eyes on an ordinary Tuesday while the choices are all still open. The advisor also transforms your arithmetic, and this may be its most practical service. We waste time precisely because we experience it as unlimited, a vague, vast supply, always more where that came from. So run the actual numbers once and feel the ground shift. If you're 35 with parents in their 60s whom you see twice a year, the math says you may have 50, 60 visits left with them. Ever. Count the summers remaining with your kids before they are grown and gone. If they are 8, you have 10. 10 summers. The weekly game with your friends, the trips you'll realistically take, the books you'll actually read at your current pace. Everything, counted honestly, is shockingly finite and was finite all along. The counting just removes the anesthesia. People who do this exercise report the same immediate effect. The later pile shrinks and the now pile grows. Because we should really visit more is a sentiment, but 50 visits remain is an emergency of a very specific, actionable kind. The advisor's core briefing is always the same. You are not living a general life with unlimited instances. You are spending specific, numbered days, and today was one of them. Now the necessary caution, because this tool has failure modes. Consulted wrongly, mortality can produce paralysis. Nothing matters, why try or panic? Everything is slipping away, and neither is the practice. The Stoics were precise about the aim. The point of remembering death is not to darken life, but to unpostpone it. If a session with the advisor leaves you anxious and frozen, you've asked the wrong question. The right ones always end in a next action, the call to make, the trip to book, the work to begin, the sentence to finally say. And the practice pairs always with its twin, gratitude. Because the same awareness that makes remaining time urgent makes present time luminous. This ordinary evening, the household sounds, the person in the next room, the unremarkable health of your 2 working lungs will someday, from some future vantage, look like unbelievable treasure. The advisor's deepest gift isn't hurry. It's the reversal of that future longing now, to see the ordinary day as what it actually is, one of the numbered ones, still in your hands, still spendable on anything you choose. There's a last service the advisor performs, and it's the deepest. It asks you what the days are for. Sit once genuinely pen in hand with the old exercise. Write what you'd want said honestly at your own funeral. Not the resume, the eulogy. The 2 documents value different currencies. Resumes count achievements. Eulogies count who you were: steadfast, generous, honest, present, brave, and what you built in other people. Most of us spend our decades optimizing the document nobody will read that day. The exercise takes an evening and it reliably reorders things. The promotion drops a rank, the estranged friend rises several. The character you're becoming reveals itself as the actual project, hiding all along under the busyness. You don't need the answer to be dramatic. You need it to be yours, chosen in the light of the end, rather than defaulted in the fog of assumed forever. So here is tonight's consultation, 3 questions, and I'd ask you to actually answer them before you sleep. 1. What am I postponing that the deathbed me will wish I'd done, and what's the first step this week? 2. Who needs to hear something from me? Love, apology, gratitude, truth, while hearing is still possible. 3. What am I spending my numbered days on that, counted honestly, deserves none of them? The advisor is already on your counsel. It has been since the day you were born, sitting quietly at the end of the table, holding the one piece of information that makes all the other advice mean anything. Stop ignoring it. Ask your questions. It has only ever had one message, and it isn't be afraid. It's you're alive right now, and right now is the entire inventory. Spend today like the numbered, unrepeatable, still open thing it is. That's not death talking in the end. That's life finally taken at its word.